I love being part of diversity, equity, and inclusion committees, also working with brands in regards to that. And today I really want to talk about the importance of inclusivity, how we can start the conversation. Kristina has an amazing free class for this as well. But I wanted to have like an open heart conversation. This is not about being right or wrong. It's just information and tools to really help us. So I would love to learn like how do because I know in 2019 you became an ambassador in Australia for the dress code project. So I would love to learn like how did all this get started for you, and yeah, we're gonna go to
Yeah, I love this. It is a heartfelt conversation, and it is an important conversation to have with each other, where I think creating a space around inclusivity, gender inclusivity in particular within our hair teams. So this conversation is very helpful for salon teams, for our industry internally, as well as for being welcoming and inclusive for all, whether you call them guests or clients, to your salon. So as a ambassador and advocate for gender-free hair, I had spoken to Kristen Rankin, who came up with the concept, which has now become a global alliance, called the Dress Code Project. So you can check them out online. You can follow them on Instagram for lots of handy tips on all things around easy changes for language. I've covered quite a few of these types of conversations on my podcast, on Color Kristina Talks podcast, as well as I have on my website, things like my pronouns and so on. So I'll share with you why it's important. I am a member of the queer community, and my partner is actually female to male transgender. And this has been a big journey on many levels for both of us. I've got many friends that are allies or within the queer community in Sydney. So I do have some lived experience with this, and I wanted to share this as my experience and how I have used this as a vehicle to be doing education. So when I do education, I would display my pronouns as she, her, hers. I also introduce myself with my name and my pronouns. I don't do that in every consultation in the salon, but I do have it clearly on my Instagram and different pathways where a new client could find me. The first time my partner went to a specialist to talk about the transitioning process in a medical room, the doctor said, with his beautiful, long, gorgeous, silky brunette hair that I don't need to color too often because it's so gorgeous, it's like yours. They were then asked, when will you be cutting your hair too short, to a boy length haircut? And I felt upset, confused, shocked that a medical doctor was suggesting this, outraged, in fact, and quite confused that gender from a medical point of view versus somebody perhaps in kindergarten that's age 5 thinks that that's a boy short haircut. Hair has no gender. Hair grows out of our scalp the same in different curls and textures and colors, that it is the same on all genders. And for some members of our community who are non-binary and don't conform to our gender of male and female as well, it can be a really difficult thing to enter a salon or a beauty service of any sort for the different misgendering that happens. There was actually I think it's about 97 or 95% of non-binary or transgender people that were interviewed on behalf of the Dress Code Project by the brand Pantene had an experience of being misgendered. Hair length does not determine your gender. So that was my emotional reason for wanting to help with education. And I now share, I've spoken for different software companies. I use Timely Salon software, which are advocates within having the pronouns available to display that on your client's information as well as my own. easy changes for inclusivity can be starting with bathrooms, to have bathrooms that are not gender specific, male or female, as that might be a changing room as well. You might have color gowns that people require to take their shirt off, some salons do. So to change the signage, that can be one step. To also have different conversations and remove the gender from your pricing. This is not just a thing around pricing. You could charge for timing. You might have 15-minute or 1-hour appointments. You might have, I've got medium length bob, medium haircut or blow dry, or short, medium, long. I specialize in color. There is absolutely no need to have gender in color pricing because it is based on service, product, and time. And I know that it is a big shift happening in our industry. It is more than just how we charge. It is more than just having a pink tax. It is about being inclusive and welcoming for all people to come into the salon. So some easy ways of saying a greeting that you could implement straight away would be, hi, my name is Kristina. Come on through. I'm taking care of your hair today. I would use their name. I would ask about their hair. That's the only information I need to know in the consultation. I don't need to ask what their pronoun is. I don't need to until it feels right in the relationship to ask that. But perhaps they could do it on a new client inquiry form if you have digital entry forms before they come into your salon chair. Removing things like good morning guys, or hey guys, or hey ladies, and different gender specific greetings could be changed to hi folks, or welcome in friends, hello hair besties. There are different ways that can be non-gendered. And the reason why it is really important for us as hairstylists is we are one of the few industries that we still touch, talk, and physically connect with members of our community. And it might be their first time in a chair to come and have a style that represents what their identity is sexually or physically. Their gender identity is not necessarily tied up to their sexuality, and without overcomplicating it, the best way, if you stumble, if you make a mistake, if you misgender someone, is not to ignore it, is to apologize. And something I learned recently with pronouns is not to say, what are your preferred pronouns? What are your pronouns? They're not preferred, they're not a preference, they are your pronouns. So when I start doing education, I did training. There is training provided that you can access online and in person with the Dress Code Project. There may also be local places that work with the local community that may be suitable for different services, or for shops. There are different memberships and alliances that you can join. And it is really about having sensitivity around different things and letting the client guide you as to what they're comfortable with. I was integral in starting the first gender-free haircut club, which was for a not-for-profit organisation in Sydney for youth between the age of, I think it was 14 to 24. Some of them are in emergency housing or long-term housing. Some of them are coming from quite troubled homes and seeking services of counselling and different things to help guide them into their future with support. And I set up with the Dress Code Project and some hairdressers to do this type of hair experience for them. And I had to keep almost like not crying. One of the beautiful clients had her hair for the first time combed and straightened and a big bouncy blow dry. Others were having mohawks, others were clipping off some of their hair, and the smiles were life-changing for them. And it was a gift that, as a stylist, it's as simple as a haircut or a blow dry, that we can help somebody not only feel beautiful, but to be seen. And to remove, don't say your next lady's up there at the front desk, or your gent haircut is here, James is here, or Nellie is waiting at the front desk. It's about kindness and inclusivity. So that's a short sort of introduction, but it doesn't have to be really complicated either. The best tip I would say when you're not sure of a gender, just use somebody's name, We don't need to gender their hair.
Love that, Kristina. You gave some amazing information and like just tips for all of us. But I really wanted to share and be candid. So I made a mistake on her podcast. I used guys, and I was like, well, I apologize. You know, like we make mistakes. I make mistakes.
Oh.
But it's not about ignoring our mistake. It's about acknowledging that you made a mistake and apologizing and working towards it, right? For me, for many years I used that word guys, and now I don't do it anymore. I'm like, hi everybody, or hi beautiful, or like hi my gente, you know, like my people in Spanish, you know, use like use their first name. And for me it's very important, even my own business, you know, although I do medium to long hair, that's what I do. I specialize in medium to long hair. Like I don't know how to do a pixie, I don't know how to do a short haircut, but like you say, our hair grows out of our scalp in different textures, but it's hair. It doesn't have a gender attached to it. And I really love how you also talk in part of the consultation, acknowledging you and your name. I'm not, you know, like our pronouns are not a preference, it's what they are, pronouns.
I also would say, hey guys, because it is a greeting. Like in Australia, we could say, hey mate, and some people don't like mate, it's a friend. It's a bit cringy for some people. For me, saying hi folks isn't a natural flow of how I do things, but to say, hey friends, or good morning everyone, is a mindfulness shift. And I acknowledge I've said the wrong things and I'm open to learning. And this is a conversation that we can continue to have, as well as it's okay to ask questions. Sometimes when we're scared of saying the wrong thing, we only say the wrong thing because we're not seeking out support. And people can tell the sincerity of something. So if you do make a mistake, it's totally okay. And some people are more open with their journey, other people are very closed, and we don't need to know it as their hairstylist. If they choose to take us with them, that's great, and it's a really special invitation to be supporting them. But you can also get education from other hairdressers and to seek out information as well. And it's just like learning a add-on hair skill. Perhaps you haven't worked with razors before. You go off and do some razor education, you practice, you make some mistakes, you build gender-free hair conversations, you use clippers, it's a scissor cut, it's short, medium, long, bouncy, blow dry. What do you like about this image? Don't gender the images with masculine and feminine. Do you like that there's a sweeping fringe? Tell me more. Are you loving how shaggy and 70s that is? It's those types of changes that can really mean the world, and just be more inclusive for every single person.
So important. I love this. And now we're going to go to the next part, which I'm being like very open-hearted here. So I was adopted at the age of 9. And my adopted parent happened to be white. I'm a Latina. So
yes,
my whole life, whether I wasn't Hispanic enough. I'm actually not from Mexican parents. I'm Central American, so I wasn't like Mexican enough or Latina enough, and I wasn't like white enough. Like always, like with labels, like my whole life as a young girl. So for me, I choose not to like put my pronouns on my pages. That's just my choice. For me, it's like kind of triggering. So I want to talk a little bit about that. Like we were talking prior to going live on the podcast. So can you talk to me about pronouns? Like for example, like I see you have yours, but how can I also be for like our listeners that are listening that maybe have triggering in regards to like labels and things like that? How can we be inclusive and respectful of all in regards to whether we should or we shouldn't post our
Great. It's a great question. And I will share with an open heart that I was adopted as well. I was adopted as a baby, and I do struggle at times with fitting in or with labels or not really feeling like I do fit in some places, or it's this deep push sort of down feeling. And I'm sharing this because you just shared it. I don't share it lots because I find it can bring in lots of insensitive questions. And I think by putting pronouns or labels on our messaging may also bring in questions that you are sharing you're not wanting as labeling. So I think alternative ways of communicating that could be taking the perhaps the labeling from the stylist or from the business by putting it back into an invitation to the client. If you had a website, do you have, this could also be about the entrance, the style of chairs. Is there a lift access? It could be for people with prams or disabilities. There could be a very narrow door, so it could be for body weight, all different things for massage therapists as well. To show photos of the space can be a great way to communicate the entrance and the physical chairs of what somebody may be comfortable with, as well as the style of work, if there's variation in styling and in gender. And also in the written messaging, we charge by hair length. We don't have, so some people I notice use the word unisex. You could just in your messaging or on your price page or in your price messaging on your social media, have lists saying we charge for new clients $100 for a new client consultation, haircut, blow dry, and it takes between 60 to 90 minutes. For regular clients, we offer various services ranging for short, medium, and long, or we have our 30-minute, I know some curly hair specialists that do a 30-minute dry cut, versus you could go in for 60 minutes and have a treatment and leave with wet hair. So you would have in your pricing, that's the most simple way to change it, is to remove male cut and female cut. But if you have an intro or an about me or about my space page, we welcome all folks. If you would like to do a consultation before coming to the salon, I offer online FaceTimes if that's something you want to do. There are different ways of helping someone feel comfortable to know if you're the right space or the stylist for them before they come in. And I think to offer different ways so somebody doesn't come in and then feel that they're in the wrong space as well. So that could be a good way of removing your pronouns. I know many friends that wouldn't put pronouns on their emails and on their Instagram, but as an educator and an advocate, I do that. I don't usually or rarely introduce myself and mention my pronouns unless I'm in an education environment to encourage others to know that that's comfortable if they want to share theirs with me. So it helps other people to know how to address me as well. But I think if you can remove the pricing and have it worded, for example, I don't speak another language, so I wouldn't necessarily be promoting that I'm bilingual. But for you to be able to say that you're bilingual and do beautiful, medium length and longer styles, you like extensions, for example, share what your services are, but with gender-free terminology.
It's so important. Like even for me, some things for the website. So we're talking about website, and actually had a training on that, right? How to be inclusive of all, especially in the bridal wedding industry.
Mm-hmm.
Bridal wedding, right? So I changed the, on my website it says wedding or a contract, or I have to have the pronouns, because that's important. And some people that inquire, others they are, our images, right? So I don't have just essential pictures on my website, it's mixed, that's very important to me. And like you say, our language, if I do makeup, it's not about, for a bride or just for her day. It's not like that. Like those little words, those little changes can make a huge difference. Communicate, and it's pretty simple, like you say. Sometimes if we overthink it and we're scared of doing the wrong thing, I think it's so beautiful that there are resources for us out there. And I wanted to find out, because after this podcast, guess is gonna go listen to that free class, Celeste. And I want to that as well. I wanted to know, what is your class about? So I know you have a free resource that you were talking to me about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I the boot camps, and I've done some live masterclasses in the last 2 years. I went from doing my first one with no sound to learning through all the lockdowns to get better at the tech stuff. So I've become now a Zoom ninja level where I like to do live classes and boot camps, but I also have to juggle different parts of my business. So I've got clients. I can't be running those all the time. So I plan this year, if you want to follow me on my Instagram at Color Kristina, then you'll see any updates and when I'm going to be hosting a live event. But what I've done to meet popular demand is I have a free masterclass that you can register, that's an on-demand class that is for free, on how to achieve reds and coppers without hot roots or banding. And that's available anytime. So it's pre-recorded and it's about a 60-minute class, and it covers how to avoid those two biggest mistakes, hot roots and banding, with reds and copper. And you can find the link to register for that on my Instagram at Color Kristina, or on my website, kristinarussell.com.au. And what I'll do is I'll also share the link with you for your listeners as well, that they can find that. So a hot tip with that one, it is a 60-minute class. It's absolutely free, but it does expire after 48 hours. So it's something that I want you to take action, and when you're ready, mark in 1 hour in your calendar, then register, and you've got a couple of days to watch it before it disappears. And then you can reply to any of my emails with your personalized questions or send me a DM on Instagram. So that is an awesome place to start, and you will learn more about my tips and tricks in that class.
And in regards to inclusivity, so if there's any hairstylists or hairdressers that want, even beauty pros, because my audience here is very wide. It's for all kinds of beauty pros. Where are there some free resources where you think it's really good to get started?
Great question. I've actually recorded on my podcast a few interviews, and I've got on my blog a few that have the transcriptions and important links. So if you wanted to go on to my podcast blog, which you can find, my name's Kristina, spelt with a K. I'm adopted and it starts with a K, just a little bit different. So it's Kristina with a K, russell.com.au. Go to the podcast blog and you can type in key topics. So you could scroll through and find easy language changes. You could find an interview with Kristen Rankin and the Dress Code Project. You could just Google the Dress Code Project, or you could also go onto their Instagram to find tips, and they have a combination of online events as well for training. So you can become a member. That is a paid membership that includes a more in-depth training, but there are several free resources available both on my website as well as on the Dress Code Project to help all beauty professionals and their allies and friends and family learn about inclusivity.
Thank you so much, Kristina. And before we end this episode, so right now, we're going 2023, right? And at least here, that's why I love to work in different parts of the world. At least here in California and the States, there's a lot of talk about, the housing market coming down, about jobs and the economy changing. Person, I'm more like, if there's opportunity, we can change, we can pivot. What are some things that you have had to overcome over the years? We've all went through the whole 2020 craziness, and I know it was pretty crazy over there too with the shutdowns and things. It wasn't California. So what have been things that you've been able to do and you've learned that have kept you going in the hardest of times when you kind of just want to throw in the towel?
I wanted to throw in the towel, throw the computer, throw a wine bottle, but then I actually also wanted to drink it and watch daytime TV for a while during the different lockdowns. And it also was an incredible time to retrain in things, but I certainly didn't have the capacity to be creative or the energy. It was so draining. I want to acknowledge that people who are in business, who are in this industry, we were celebrated and adored by our clients who couldn't get in to see us, which was then also nerve-wracking to come out and have these long waiting lists. Things that I took away from that experience were trying to automate some things. I'm less accessible. I don't ask my clients, for example, to text me, Instagram, DM me, call me, and email me. What I did to change as an independent is I've now got an online booking request form. That's a Google form. It's a free part of the Google suite of offerings and different documents you can have. They enter their name, email, mobile. I have a few options for services. All of the info goes there. And then I send them an automatic email saying I'll reply within 1 to 3 business days. So I'm not getting the DMs. I mean, I might still, but I ignore them. I'm not getting all of the DMs and the different things coming in because I was getting forgetful, overwhelmed, and anxious. So I've looked at things that make me less anxious, more focused when I'm sitting at my computer and I do my bookings. And other ways that I've changed is in my mindset. I started working with Salon Scale as an app to get really, your numbers don't lie. So what you're using and what you're reordering, I really looked at budgeting and scaling and focusing on what work I wanted to do. I raised my prices and I ended last year as a 5-figure stylist working 2 to 3 days a week doing the colors that I love to do because I raised my prices. I knew my cost of doing business and I'm not in a fearful mindset. I also have a cancellation policy. I get people to pay deposits and I look at myself as the business that I am. I'm not a hobby. It's not a passion. I am there to earn money and to change that mindset as well. So I can reinvest in my education. I could go on holidays and different things like that. So I've really looked at ways that were working and what wasn't, and to get me making money when in the salon, but also to look at different things that I was really wanting to do. So I hope that helps. I think now is a great time to raise your prices. Do not be scared that there is a recession looming or we're currently in it. It has been proven in times of recession in the past that people are most likely to spend locally and to support small businesses. So stylists and beauty professionals, you're in luck because people still need you. You're an essential service and you are in your local area. They're more likely to spend it with you than the big brands online, and they need you. So don't be afraid or act in a scarcity mindset. It is still okay for you to scale and to strive for your financial goals.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Kristina. I mean, I've noticed it. Honestly, I'm getting 5 to like 10 inquiries per week on my bridal side of the business, you know?
Yeah.
Wow, you know, like I know everybody's talking about stuff going on, but like, what's the opportunity, right? I'm in California. Yes, it is flooding. It's unfortunate. There's a lot of other things going around me, but there's also opportunity within everything, the struggles that we face. But mind things and automating is so important. And I love they use Google Forms because I did too. It's free. If I don't have to pay for something, I'm doing it.
Yeah, it's free.
And is there any final things or thoughts you would like to share with all of us today? And I really, really appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you. I'm so excited. I am really feeling so excited for the year ahead. And so if I could share anything, I would suggest to reach out, be brave, make connections, slide into the DMs of educators or mentors that you love. I slid into Celeste and said, hello. I sent a voice message. I love sending voice messages to people and then a written one. It's a really nice free way of connecting and hearing someone's voice. And this year I've got some really exciting things happening in my podcasts, and it's through not being afraid. Not everyone is going to be the right fit for you. So if I could suggest to people to be brave, to take one step at a time, but not to push your dreams, because you can be wildly successful, and that means different things to different people. Not to push your dreams and goals to the side. As hairdressers and beauty professionals, we're often people pleasers, but I really would love to encourage listeners to come through from what we've been experiencing the last couple of years and to start reaching for your goals. Invest in education. If that's not an option, spend time by investing your physical time by attending free education, listen to podcasts, ask questions in the comments on social media posts. There are so many different ways to engage. And when you can invest, that is a great time to grow and scale. So that is what I encourage you to do. I'm super passionate about attending education just as much as teaching. I love it, the connections and the growth strategies that you will learn. So thank you again for having me on the show.
Thank you, Kristina. And you see, DMs do work. This happened organically. I really connected just with her content, who she is as a person. And now she's a part of the podcast. So I'm so excited for you to be here. You can also follow her. She has amazing podcast tips, which how cool is that? You can hear it while you're on the road walking, holding your clothes, doing whatever you're doing. It's Color Kristina Talks. I'll go ahead and link it on the show notes. Thank you so much for being a part of this conversation, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you to your listeners, and reach out in the DMs at Color Kristina. I love to connect and meet other beauty professionals. Thank you so much. See you later.